Hello everybody, it's time for another still frame review. And I just got finished watching the finale of the series I'm going to review, WandaVision. The Marvel Cinematic Universe's first Disney Plus television show follows Wanda Maximoff, aka the Scarlet Witch, and her life with her supposed husband, Vision, the robot guy. I don't know how to describe him. He's Vision. The series starts off as a late 50s, early 60s sitcom in the vein of the Dick Van Dyke Show. But then, as each episode progresses, the scenery and characters change to fit different decades of television sitcoms, and Wanda and Vision slowly realize that something is going strange in their world, and this is not how reality should be. Now, I won't go into all the spoilers of why the world is the way it is, but I will say this is a really unique idea, and that's the first good point I want to mention on this show is just how unique it is. Even if it's copying other shows, I can't think of another show that replicates different eras of old sitcoms. And it's definitely not what you would normally expect from Marvel, especially with how homogenized all their movies have felt up to this point, at least in my opinion. I hope homogenized is the right word. Anyway, this feels different, and that's good. Also, I was pretty impressed with Paul Bettany and his comedic timing. I think he could do a sitcom for himself if he wanted to. But it's important to note that the show itself is not really a sitcom. There are a lot of jokes that are set up with a laugh track, but those jokes aren't actually funny because they don't have the proper setup, because it's all based on otherworldly things that we haven't had time to digest as the rules of the world, so we don't recognize the subversions when they happen. So we don't get a genuine laugh most of the time, but there are still some real jokes in there. But most of the time, these sitcom jokes are really used as the language of the piece. Like a foreign language film might have all the characters speaking in Chinese, this show has all the characters speaking in sitcom. Now, I would have been really impressed if the writers had been able to create a genuine sitcom in the Marvel Universe and have every joke at least be substantial. But this is no less than what I would expect the writers to do. I was also really impressed with the filmmakers, how they were able to replicate so many different eras of television in their cinematography. And I'm not just talking about whether the show's in color or not and what the aspect ratio is, but other subtler things, such as having no close-ups or RGB separation, film grain and noise, color correction, all these different things, and then they subvert that by going into a close-up, or maybe losing some of the film grain whenever you start to realize, hey, there's a real world out there somewhere, and the fake pretend TV world starts to fall apart. And one last thing I really like about the show, this isn't too much of a spoiler, but there's this one scene where we get to see Wanda as a kid watching the Dick Van Dyke Show in her home in Sokovia. And that was really cool to see for me because I used to watch the Dick Van Dyke Show all the time as a child, and I recognized the shows they were watching. I know those DVD cases, in fact. So every time I saw Wanda as a child watching those shows, I thought, hey, that's me. That's my childhood. And it warmed the cockleburrs of my heart. And it's just really awesome that Dick Van Dyke is now officially part of the MCU. Now, the show is not without its flaws. I'd say probably its biggest weaknesses had to do with the real-world scenes outside of the fake TV land. For one thing, the antagonist and the B-story side plot was super cliche, and I got kind of bored watching it. And also, I'm not too sure about the choice of having episode 4 be completely outside of TV land and focus completely on the real world, where we are told through exposition exactly what's happening. I think I may have preferred something more of a slow burn, something more akin to, say, the first season of Stranger Things, where it takes the characters a long time to figure out, hey, something weird is going on here, and they figure it out over several episodes. But I do recognize that that choice to have the explanations in the 4th episode really was to help folks who maybe weren't all into either old sitcoms, weird stuff, or the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So I appreciate the intention behind it to help the audience along. So, given all that, what would I rate WandaVision? I'm going to give WandaVision a B for Bewitched. It's a pretty unique show. I love the concept. It's a fun entry into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, And while they took some choices that perhaps were not as next level as I would have preferred, I still recognize the intention behind them, and it's no less than anybody would have expected from them. Well, that's my review for WandaVision. Have you seen it yet? If so, comment below and let me know what you thought of it. Also, let me know if you have any other television shows or movies you'd like me to review. See you later.